Hello friends, welcome to Salesforce CRM Analytics video session 193. So basically in today's video, I will give you an introduction of the CRM Analytics Dashboard, Salesforce CRM Analytics Dashboard. We will walk through a few of the properties and basically a few of the widgets maybe, okay, and nothing much. So yeah, through this video, we have covered a lot related to the data set. And basically, we have learned all about the data set, the lenses. This is one more aspect of the designer layer where we will actually understand about the dashboard part. Okay. First of all, I just wanted to show you a thing which I have done actually. Maybe you can also just do it very quickly on your side. So what I've done is basically we have this free session one which we did. If you all are following with me, we have already done this thing. Free session one, we created one recipe. Okay, now what I've done over here is I have just changed a few things. So this account which you see, right, so there's a filter which I have on industry. Okay, so I've just mapped it as industry is not none. That's it. Okay, that is only thing which is mapped. Earlier I think there was some kind of industry equal to education which was given. I have just changed it to industry is not null, and I have just saved and run this data set. So I'm taking this particular data set, that is recipe account data set. Okay, just remember this name. And what I will do is, first of all, so here I'm just clicking on this create and I'm clicking on the dashboard. Okay, now you can see there are two aspects to this: blank dashboard and dashboard from template. We will go for this create blank dashboard. Fine. Now this is the whole dashboard screen which you see. Okay, this is the whole dashboard screen. Now this particular thing which you see where my mouse is pointing to, this is the canvas. This is basically the drawing area. This is, the place where we will build the charts, text, everything else over here. These are the layout and themes which are there. Okay. Firstly, what you can do is you can always edit the dashboard name, because I will be just teaching you a few stuffs. So I'm just writing it as scratch dashboard. Fine, nothing much. I'm just writing that as scratch dashboard. And what I will do is I will also save this dashboard, okay, as the name as scratch dashboard. And maybe as of now, we can save on the recipe data set. That is also fine. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, remember these terms, like this is the canvas and this is the page. Okay, you can create a lot many pages. Okay, so this is the first page which you see. Maybe I can just rename it as something like page one. Okay, I will click on apply. Now, what happens is this is the whole canvas as I mentioned. And if you click on preview, this is the way you are going to see this. You can rename, you can hide from navigation, we can clone this as well. Anyways, we will walk through each of one of them one by one. But firstly, as you have understood, like the preview section, it will just zoom out the whole thing. Maybe if I build something, I can show you how this preview looks like. So in edit, you can actually edit a few changes, but when you go to preview, you won't be able to do any changes. You will be just able to view the dashboard. Okay, now there's something called as default. Okay, like for example, if you click on this add layout, there are different kind of layouts, like how you want to see it on desktop, table, mobile, custom. Okay, I will actually walk through this part, then I will explain you. There's a particular app which you can download, okay, on Android as well as on the Apple side. But like basically this is a dashboard which you will be able to see on the desktop. But if there's a users who are seeing this particular dashboard on the desktop or tablet or I'm sorry, on the mobile or tablet, how that can be viewed, that kind of layout can also be done, okay, from here. Global filters we walk through maybe, and the dashboard properties. Now, if you come up here, the dashboard properties, this is the name of the dashboard properties. So here, for example, is written as default. Maybe I can just write something like uh, I don't know, like property one maybe. Okay, just simply writing this as property one. Now these are the columns. If you see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is the number of columns which you see. Okay, if you observe, like this is a particular cell, right? If you see my mouse, this is a particular cell. Okay, similarly, this is a particular cell. Now, all this cell, basically, if you want to decrease the columns, you can go for that. Okay, ideally, what happens whenever we build any scratch dashboard, we can actually make it to zero. Fine, if you can make it to complete zero. Okay, and this row height which you see. So first of all, I will explain you this row height. So for now, let it be 12. Now this row height which you see, which is normal, you can make it as fine. If you see by fine, it means basically it just became vertical kind of a thing, right? So when it was normal, like you see this brick kind of a thing which was happening on the row side, but when you become fine, basically this gap you won't see. So if you go for fine, you won't see that particular uh, gap. Okay, it's like completely, it's made vertical over here. So if you explore this, you will understand more, and that's the thing about this one. So currently, let's say I make it as normal. Now horizontal cell spacing. What is the meaning of this? Horizontal vertical spacing between cells. Okay. So let's say I just kind of make it as 4. If you see the spacing decrease, like you see, you have this 0 where you won't see the spaces at all. Okay. And if I make it as 4, you will see some space. And if I make it as 8, you will again see the space has increased a lot. Similarly for vertical, if you make it as 0, you won't see any spaces. So if I make both it at all, it will be like a complete blank dashboard. Okay. This is where we actually work in. But anyways, as of now, we can go for 8. Okay. I think we can go for the default option. Now there's something called maximum dashboard width. Okay. So maximum width that the dashboard can use. So that's the thing about this one. And then similarly, you have something called as the background color. Let's say you want to go for some different color. Let's say I go for some of the light colors maybe, but a different one. If I choose, you see how it has changed to yellow in the background. Okay. Let's say I go something on the gray side. Okay. So that's the way it goes about. Fine. Just for an explanation, I am choosing this one. Okay. So this is the way just to choose. There's something called as gutter, color of the gutter that appears on the device screen is wider. Okay, currently it's not required because it depends upon the maximum dashboard. Fine. Currently, I'm not giving anything, and there, like for if each of the device, okay, you have different kind of device. As I said, can use Android, you can use iOS. Okay, so in whichever platform the mobile is used, what kind of orientation you want, those kind of things you can go for it. Okay, so that is fine, and then you have the background image. If you want to upload any image particularly, maybe I can show you in one of the session, and you can change the scale. As of now, I don't have any image, but anyways, that is all about this more or less property. Okay, then you have something called as the theme, the color size specified here, so you can go for any kind of widget style. So let's say I go for this purple. Okay, currently there's nothing, no widgets over here, that's why we are not able to see any background color, but that is fine. We will walk through at a later stage on this one. So this is all about the layout. Again, as I explained, like more particularly if I have to explain the background image, I will again come back to this one to explain, but more or less this is all about the properties. Okay, you can change the number of columns, you can go for different kind of row heights which you want. As of now, I'm just going for default, but usually we actually kind of go for this columns as 0, and the row height as fine. And we can just change this to 0 as well to make it a complete white background. Okay, when complete white canvas basically. Fine. So that is about this one, and yeah, we will come to this once again. If there is something you want to undo, we can actually do that as well. We have that feasibility over here, and we are in new tab dashboard properties. Like this is the dashboard properties. You can also come from here as well. Okay, you can click over here. So if you click on this one, it's like what kind of, it's just a screen which is available on mobile. Show this dashboard, the CML is mobile app. So there's a particular mobile app which I will show you in one of the different sessions. But if you enable that, that will come up in the mobile app as well. Fine. Pick initial values, conversation, connected, delete. We will walk through one by one. If I click on preview again, you see this is coming like this one. Okay. And here, if you see, like if you want to present the screen, you can present the screen. This is the full screen which has been presented. Okay. Again, if you want to share, so other options we will walk through one by one at a later stage. Currently, let's do one thing. Let's walk through each of the widgets. As I told you on the left side, whatever you see, these are all nothing but widgets. Okay. So that's the thing. Let's start with the first widget. For example, let's say the chart. Okay. So I already have one of the data set. Okay. I will increase this chart a bit. And here I will just go for that particular data set, that is recipe account data set, which I just now showed you. Now, what is important is whenever you're building any charts or any kind of widgets, especially the charts, tables, always ensure that you give a proper label name at the top. Otherwise, it becomes a bit difficult. This is also a best practice. I'm just saying this randomly as of now, but of course, I will also cover some of the best practice which needs to be followed on the CRM Analytics dashboard. But here, what you can do is, let's say I go for count of rows and I select something like industry over here. Okay, so I can, and maybe I can go for the count of rows in descending order. So I can just simply write over here, maybe industry chart. Okay, something like that, something like industry chart. And what I am going to do is I will click on done. This is all about the industry chart. Okay, now if you see over here, these are all the options which you have. Okay, you can go for title. Maybe I can just write count of industries. Okay. Now each of the sections we have already walked through. I'm not walking through one by one because we have covered in details about the bar chart, about all the options which are on the y-axis when we were doing all the lens part, right? There are a few more options which I will cover at a later stage maybe. But these are mostly the options which we have already walked through, the conditional formatting and all this. There's something called as the widget. Maybe for background color, I can choose something like gray. Okay. So you see this has come to light gray, and there's something called as border, right? So let's say I choose something like black. Okay, if I choose the black, you see there's a particular border which came up right now. Okay, so I have chosen all the borders side. That's why it's coming up now. Let's say I choose something like 8. So you see this has become a bit thicker, but I don't want that thick. Maybe I have chosen 4. So a thick border is something which you can see. Border radius is like, you will see like there are some edges. So if I click on preview, right, you will observe, if you observe my cursor over here, you see there are some edges over here, right? And if you don't want that edges, you can actually change the border to something else. Let's say I change it to something like 8, okay, or maybe I don't know, 16, for example. Okay, you see this has completely come up in a cylindrical shape. Okay, that's all about the border sections. Fine. So that is, yeah, about this one, the widgets. Onboarding I will explain you a bit later maybe. Whatever I'm explaining, I'm just giving you an overall view. If there are one or two parts which will be missed, I will be definitely covering in further sessions. Okay, not an issue over there. Now the next part which is there is the table. So let me bring the table over here maybe. And what I will do is from here, let's say I go for the values table. And here I can just write something like account details. Okay. And we can choose whatever things we want to choose over here. So let's say I choose the account ID, account name. I don't need the account number. Maybe I can choose the account type, the billing country, industry, parent account ID is not needed. I can choose the segment and the annual revenue and maybe the created data. So, okay, so I will click on apply. And I can just arrange this very quickly. So I will put the account ID at the top. The account name is there, industry, annual revenue. Maybe the account type I can put it over here as well. Okay, the billing country, segment, and the created. Yeah, that is fine. And I've written the account details over here. So you click on done. So this is a simple values table which I have built. Again, here also you have all these options which we have already walked through when we were working on the table sections. You can watch the previous sessions. Maybe I can choose one of the different things and maybe I can enlarge a bit. That is fine. And here again, once again, if I choose, these are all themes, spacing, headers, all of these things we have already walked through, right? Cells, okay. You have the borders. So you can choose any of the border thickness if you want, okay. And let's say I want the border color to be blue or deep blue maybe, okay. So I can choose it over here. So these are the major grid line colors, as you can see. Fine. Then there's colors you can go for alternate row colors if you want, okay. So let's say if I go for this one and I choose something like green maybe over here, and even color let it be as it is, okay. It is showing up. Fine. So customize frozen columns, basically lock columns on the left in place. So if there's a particular column up till which you want to lock, you can go for that as well. We will cover this as we go further. And this is like show row index. So if you don't want to show this index number, you can go for this. Again, here the widget style may not be applicable because we already have, a proper color, background color for this table, but it was applicable for this particular chart. Okay. Then we have something repeated. We will cover this a bit later. And we have this text. You can add any kind of text over here. Okay, so let's say I write something like scratch dashboard, fine, and you can go for middle alignment. So yeah, that is all about this. It was just an introduction to the CRM Analytics dashboard, and we have walked through a few properties as well as all the three widgets like chart, table, and text. And yeah, we will cover a bit more on this in our further sessions. So thank you.